D.C. kicking off tomorrow, followed by the RNC on August 24th. Both events will be almost entirely virtual, setting the stage for what's expected to be an historic showdown between President Donald Trump and Joe Biden come November. My next guest knows better than anyone what it takes to win the presidency. He helped lead Donald Trump to victory in 2016 as the chief executive of Trump's campaign. Joining me right now is former White House chief strategist and the host of the wildly popular War Room Pandemic, Steve Bannon. Steve, it is good to see you this morning. Thanks very much for being here. I want to kick it off with the convention. Tomorrow, look who you've got speaking at the Democratic National Convention. Bernie Sanders is opening it up. Michelle Obama will be the big highlighter. And then John Kasich and Amy Klobuchar. The week follows suit with John Kerry, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Bill Clinton, the big speaker on Tuesday, Wednesday, Hillary Clinton, Elizabeth Warren, Kamala Harris, Barack Obama. The important big speaker, 9 o'clock Wednesday night. And then, of course, Thursday, Cory Booker, Pete Buttigieg, and Joe Biden. Let's talk. What are you expecting?
Well, I think this is perfect for President Trump. In fact, if I was the campaigner of the RNC, I would amplify the message that's coming out of this convention. And here's why. President Trump won in 2016 because he stood up for America. He stood up for working class and middle class people against an elite, a financial and political elite that was driving the managed decline of the United States. And you're going to see it over the next 4 days. That's what they're going to be talking about. More globalization, right? More economic devastation, now coupled with this kind of undergirding of this cultural Marxism and anarchy of Antifa and certain elements of the Black Lives Matter. So I think it's perfect because this is going to come down, I think, to a pretty bold choice between, do you want the America of globalization? Do you want the America of Joe Biden? And do you want the America, these political and financial elites, or do you want the America first, economic nationalism and populism of Donald Trump? And I think, look, Jared laid out, I think, very succinctly in the first segment what the national security and foreign affairs issues are with this pivot. But look, go back and look at Obama, Biden. You had the greatest concentration of wealth in America's history during their term of office, their 2 terms. President Trump turned that around to a striver's economy where blacks, Hispanics, the working class, middle class were starting to get increases in pay and lower unemployment. Also, Joe Biden was put in charge by President Obama of the pivot to Asia. And what did the Democrats do? They cut a terrible deal with Iran that then partnered with the Chinese Communist Party. It was Joe Biden that fumbled the pivot to Asia. It was Joe Biden that basically gave away the South China Sea, walked away from the cyber intrusions. It was Joe Biden put in charge of trying to confront the Chinese Communist Party, and he failed. So I think this week is going to be great for the Trump campaign and the RNC and the White House to let the American people see exactly what the policies are, what America is. And here's what they want. They want death and destruction. They want the death of the American economy and the destruction of the American way of life. And I think if that's highlighted by the end of the week, it'll smoke Joe Biden out of his basement. He's going to have to stop doing the Proof of Life podcast and get on the hustings and prove that he could take on Donald Trump, because I think the policies themselves will blow this election out.
One of those policies is higher taxes. The Wall Street Journal writes, under Biden's tax increases, a married couple filing jointly shows $78,000 of ordinary income. Their current marginal rate is 12%. When Trump's tax cut expired, their marginal rate under Biden would double to 25%. This is just a couple filing $78,000 in ordinary income. What are your thoughts on Biden's choice of Kamala Harris? And real quick, isn't that interesting that John Kasich is one of the speakers on Monday night? He's kicking off the DNC. John Kasich.
Well, this shows you the never Trump crowd, how they're triggered by President Trump. John Kasich is he's a quisling, okay? Everything he's ever stood for his entire life, everything his supporters gave him, he's going to stand up there on Monday night and basically throw it all away, okay? Because these policies are so radical. The globalization projects are so radical by these Democrats, now with the undergirding of this cultural Marxism. So, no, I think Biden picked the perfect candidate for him because I think it's so juxtaposed to what President Trump stands for. I think Senator Harris is the perfect running mate for him because now you can show the globalization. Remember, and with Biden, you don't have a Manchurian candidate. You have a Beijing candidate. The victory right here for President Trump, I think, is very specific. It goes right through Beijing. You hold him accountable for the pandemic. You hold him accountable for the economic carnage, for all the deaths. You start to confront the Chinese Communist Party everywhere in technology and economics and what they're doing. You start to bring back the supply chains. You start to bring back high value added manufacturing jobs. That is the path to victory. Joe Biden is in cahoots. He's compromised by Beijing. He's compromised by the Chinese Communist Party. Senator Harris is basically a cipher on this, so they're not going to be able to combat that. I think President Trump, action, like he's been doing, and what Jared Kushner did the other day in this fabulous deal with UAE, with other things to come. And remember, Jared's right. That's bringing back the Middle East to the side of the United States in this great confrontation with the Chinese Communist Party against Iran, against Pakistan, against Turkey, and against Russia.
Yeah, and of course, you've got Peter Navarro driving that manufacturing with the Defense Production Act. Steve, it's always great to get your insights. Thank you so much, sir. We will see you soon. Steve Bannon. Stay with us. We've got a lot more coming up right after this.